Yeah, I want to put a cup on it.
Okay. Oh, so you throw all that good woman out the window then, huh?
Yeah.
What happened to Pastor O? Come back. Put your collar on. Come back. Come back to the
Exactly.
I need an end table. For sure.
Someone fetch me my apron. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good.
Yes. Yes. And the comment section, I was talking to someone there, and it is the thing. As long as racism exists, colorism is going to exist. It's impossible to have one without the other. Right? Because without racism, there would be no colorism. Because racism becomes about someone else's survival. And so, okay. All right, sweetie. Bye-bye.
That's your executive producer.
He has to let me know he going to see his baba. All right, see you. So yeah, I was saying that racism, if racism exists, colorism exists, because racism is what creates the hierarchy. Racism becomes about someone else's survival. And so my survival means that I'm going to always have to put myself as number one, as the best, even if I'm not. That's about survival. And I think we have to understand that. But colorism is a real thing. What we struggle with is being able to properly identify it oftentimes. It's a little bit hard because it's not always something tangible. You know what I mean? It's not something that you can prove oftentimes. So it could be happening, like it's almost like microaggressions where you're like, and you know it's happening, but it's not something that you can pick up like a pencil or, you know what I mean? It's not tangible. So it could be tricky because somebody could easily say, I'm not a colorist. That's just my preference, right? And so it gets tricky in that sense. But does it exist? Absolutely. And I was telling someone in the comment section where it was, maybe it did at one time and it doesn't now. I said, no. If there are still darker skinned Black women being told that they look beautiful for a dark skinned woman, that means colorism exists. If we have our darker skinned brothers getting heavier sentences in comparison to their lighter skinned counterparts, that means that colorism still exists. Okay? So yes. As long as racism is there, colorism is right there.
Can we get a clear definition on colorism?
Sure.
How come guys can joke about it on our side, light skin, dark skin, but women, it's a major issue.
It's a serious matter. It's a serious matter over there.
Like I got light skin. My homeboy, when we pick up the phone, he called me. We hit each other with slurs about being light skin energy. But when we go out together, we do the same damage. You know, like we got the same respect for each other. And we don't care. Guys will play with this, but I don't know within the women, it's like a real issue.
I agree, Mr. O. I totally agree. To me, though, Chef, you wanted to give the definition? I'm sorry, I apologize.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to give a shorter one than the one that I showed on the slide. Here you go. Definition of colorism: prejudice or discrimination, especially within a racial or ethnic group, favoring people with lighter skin over those with darker skin. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Prejudice or discrimination.
Yeah. Well, discrimination, I mean, think about it, Vic, like discrimination could be, you don't have access to this particular thing because of the color of your skin. That is discrimination because you're darker. So therefore, we can't put you in this movie, right? I'm refusing you access. And the thing is, it's hard. We've seen it exposed in the music industry where they had like this hierarchy as far as choosing women for videos and so forth. And they don't necessarily necessarily have to do with, some people might be like, well, maybe they just was, and I know men are like this, and I appreciate you guys for this. It's easier for men to be like, maybe she's just unattractive. Or it's easier for men to say, maybe she does have a bad attitude. And I think sometimes that's true.
Say this.
Yeah.
Look, man, like that's why it's not even about that. Like maybe I can't take you to the company picnic because you ghetto. Like it ain't about the color. I know a bunch of beautiful. Remember Strange? Like we glorify this. We love it, but we don't like the culture that come behind it. I guess where they come from. I guess I'm trying to pick a better word for hood, but I can't find one right now. But that's what I mean. Like it's more about the culture they come from and how they carry themselves.
Environment.
I don't think it got nothing to do with like dark or light. Like, and somebody asked like what I meant by the deal. It's just a short way of saying like I want something out of the woman that I'm sharing my life with. I want her to have certain things that are automatic that I don't gotta teach. Like that's the deal that I want. And in return for that, she getting something that she want out of me. Protection, resources, network of shit, like things. This is the deal I'm talking about. I'm just making short of it. But it's more about being what I need on a daily basis than it is about color to me.
I get you. Here's the thing, though. I just want to say something real quick. I get you, bro. The thing is, this particular conversation, okay, you don't exist on that line. I get it. There's a lot of these things I don't exist on the line. I'm just what we doing though. We talking about it. You feel what I'm saying? So
you think guys are choosing? You think guys are choosing women based on colorism, or women are like being held back because of?
I'm not thinking anything. I'm asking about colorism and is it a thing? And the colorism versus preference. Okay? Now, you just came from a conversation where I think that stuff came up. So I know you heard a lot, you've seen a lot, right? So all I'm saying is that the conversation exists. Is it a thing? And I just wanted to talk about colorism, versus preference. One of the places that we're supposed to cut the corner to is here now. Rochelle L. She said, again, it's not always colorism. Sometimes it's featureism under the guise of colorism. The thing that I was going to ask you a little while back before I brought Hanifa up was this. Okay, you don't participate in colorism. What do you prefer? A big shelf booty or a little flat back?
Yeah, I want to put a cup on it.
Okay. Oh, so you threw all that good woman shit out the window then, huh? What happened to Pastor O? Come back. Put your collar on. Come back.
Exactly.
I need an end table. For sure.
Wait, Mr. O, I have a question. Mr. O, I think when people talk about that it is colorism, I think what comes to my mind is that I read somewhere I was reading about like the mind and how the mind works. And someone said in his book, he said, we don't see with our eyes, we see with our minds. Right. And I really had to sit with that for a while to understand what was being said. And I think I agree. So it would be like this. I got you. You're saying I'm looking more for you and your Martin Luther King shit. Right. The content of their character. You know what I'm saying? That's what you want. But I'm saying to you that when people talk about colorism, they're saying this. When you enter into a room and there's a diverse amount of women, okay? And someone says, pick one. You don't have the time to get to know their personalities and all. Colorism means that you are picking based on what you think the person is going to be like based on what they look like. So there's this idea of, like some people say, and I'm just using this as an example, the white man ice is colder. Okay. If you ever heard that terminology. Okay. So, so what is, I can't hear you, Chef.
Vic, that was where I got that thing from when I was like, yo, this ice is too damn cold. The water's too wet. The towel's too dry. There's black people, man. Yo, they rude. Yeah. I don't like this ice here. It tastes different. The water. We do that to ourselves.
Yeah. So what all I was saying. Oh, and I'm gonna stop right here. Is just like what people are saying is that you may not ever get to that point to where you're getting to know the person for who they are and what they can offer you. So what we're saying is, what happens is people categorize people based on what they look like. And one of the factors that is considered is the color of their skin, because there is a hierarchy in this society of what color represents. Usually darker skin is at the bottom. So when you enter a space, before you get to know any of those women, there's something that's driving your preference, which is what because outside of character, there's something else that's driving that. And like you say, it could be, if I can't put a cup on your booty, then,
like she said,
right, and that could be what you grew up
the way she said booty. Say it again.
No, I'm not saying it again.
Man, we should have recorded that.
Do you understand what I'm saying, Mr. O?
Yeah, like so like lighter skinned people tend to have better attitudes, and then darker people are like, we should like be more intimidated by them.
Some people find them more threatening. Yeah, some people do. Yeah, even law enforcement. Yes.
Yeah, like it work on me. Like when I get in the elevator in a white area, if I got a hood on, I need to start talking and say hello to everybody before they think that I'm up to something. Like I get that my darker skin. Yeah, I understand that from that point. It seems like it makes sense in society more than it does in how we choose relationships, though.
Someone fetch me my apron. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. Someone